A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Seneca. We frequently turn to Stoicism, one of the philosophical traditions, for guidance on how to develop and advance towards self-mastery. The ancient Greek philosophy of Stoicism emphasizes the need for restraint and mental fortitude in overcoming life's uncertainties and difficulties. It has experienced a resurgence in recent years, especially as the business sector works to define exactly what it means to be a successful leader. Seneca the Younger is arguably the most well-known of the Stoic thinkers. Seneca personified the intricate messes that make up our nature and was well aware of them. He left us priceless lessons in how to think clearly, make wise choices, and maintain calm in the face of chaos through his meditations. Lesson 1. The Dichotomy of Control. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. The first lesson in thinking clearly is understanding the dichotomy of control. This fundamental Stoic concept distinguishes between things we can control and those we cannot. It urges us to focus our mental energy on the former and let go of the latter. In our lives, we often find ourselves wrestling with events beyond our control: traffic jams, inclement weather, and the actions and opinions of others. These external factors can trigger frustration, anger, and anxiety. Marcus Aurelius, however, teaches us to recognize that we cannot control these external events. What we can control is our response to them. To think clearly, we must learn to differentiate between what is within our sphere of influence and what is not. By directing our attention and efforts towards the former, we reclaim power over our lives. This shift in perspective can be transformative. Instead of being victims of circumstance, we become architects of our own destinies. Take, for instance, the story of Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher who was born into slavery but found freedom through philosophy. Despite his oppressive circumstances, he understood that his thoughts and actions were within his control. Epictetus taught that even in the harshest conditions, we can choose our responses, maintain our dignity, and cultivate inner peace. So the first lesson in thinking clearly is to embrace the dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can change and let go of what you cannot. This mental clarity liberates you from the burden of unnecessary worry and empowers you to live a life guided by reason and purpose. Lesson 2. The power of perspective. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Our thoughts shape our reality. This is the essence of the second lesson, the power of perspective. Stoicism encourages us to examine our thoughts, beliefs, and judgments, and to recognize their influence on our emotions and actions. Imagine encountering a setback or a difficult situation. Your initial reaction may be frustration or despair, but Marcus Aurelius teaches us that we have the power to reinterpret these events by changing our perspective. Instead of seeing a challenge as a burden, view it as an opportunity for growth and learning. One powerful Stoic technique to shift perspective is negative visualization. This involves contemplating the loss of what we often take for granted, such as our health, loved ones, or possessions. By envisioning life without these blessings, we gain a deeper appreciation for what we have. This exercise not only fosters gratitude, but also helps us prepare mentally for adversity. Consider the story of Marcus Aurelius himself. He faced numerous challenges during his reign, including military campaigns, political intrigues, and personal health issues. Yet he maintained his composure by continually reminding himself of the impermanence of all things. This Stoic perspective allowed him to face adversity with grace and courage. To think clearly, it is crucial to scrutinize your thoughts and replace irrational beliefs with rational ones. By adopting a Stoic perspective, you can cultivate emotional resilience and make decisions based on reason rather than impulsive reactions. Remember, the power of perspective lies within you, waiting to be harnessed. Lesson 3. The art of acceptance. This lesson revolves around the Stoic principle of embracing what is, rather than resisting what cannot be changed. Life often throws curveballs at us: illness, loss, disappointment. These events can trigger grief, anger, and frustration. It is not that we have so little time, but that we lose so much. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill-provided, but use what we have wastefully. Seneca. By accepting the inevitability of suffering and impermanence, we can transform our suffering into an opportunity for growth. Consider the story of the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who faced exile and later forced suicide. Despite these tragic circumstances, Seneca maintained his composure and chose to accept his fate with dignity. He viewed death not as a tragedy, but as a natural part of life. Seneca's acceptance of the worst-case scenario gave him the strength to endure with grace. To think clearly, we must learn to accept the realities of life, both pleasant and painful. Instead of railing against adversity, we can use it as a teacher, guiding us toward greater wisdom and resilience. When we accept what is, we free ourselves from the grip of irrational emotions and open the door to serenity. Lesson number 4. Embrace the virtues. The 4 cardinal virtues in Stoicism are wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. They reflect human excellence and lead to eudaimonia, a deep sense of meaning and tranquility. Retire into yourself as much as possible. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is a mutual one. People learn as they teach. Seneca. Aligning actions with virtues keeps you grounded. Wisdom guides thoughtful decision-making. Justice ensures fair treatment of others. Courage helps overcome adversity. Temperance provides a balance against excess. Make it a daily practice to reflect on the virtues. Check whether your thoughts and behaviors express them. When in doubt, ask yourself, what would the wise, just, brave, and moderate path be? Let these timeless virtues steer you towards righteousness. Lesson number 5. Embrace a broader perspective. Adopting a bird's-eye view as the key to thinking clearly, you can discard most of the junk that clutters your mind, things that exist only there, and clear out space for yourself. By comprehending the scale of the world, by contemplating infinite time, by thinking of the speed with which things change, each part of everything, the narrow space between our birth and death, the infinite time before, the equally unbounded time that follows. Zooming out allows us to realize how transient our lives and problems are. Build the habit of stepping back and getting the big picture when issues feel overwhelming. Consider the broader timeline of humanity, the vastness of the cosmos, and how all things pass. With a great breadth of vision, you can think independently, unclouded by self-interest. You understand what really matters, making decisions with wisdom. Meditations on nature's grandeur and human impermanence are reminders to transcend the narrow confines of individual concerns. Thinking bigger brings clarity. Many successful leaders and entrepreneurs today make great use of the teachings of Seneca, with the realization that leadership requires a lot of mental strength, perseverance, and sacrifice, as well as the ability to adapt to the uncertainties we face. More importantly, life is about action. As Seneca said, while we are postponing, life speeds by. He understood almost 2,000 years ago that the world kept moving, and great leaders didn't postpone action, but kept moving forward.